I'm fine. And how are you doing, Trisha? I think we're talking for the first time.
Not really. We just talked before.
We did?
Yeah.
Looks like you have a different hairstyle in that case.
Yeah, I have. I've just cut it. I just shortened my hair.
Okay, because I think you had a plait the last time we talked.
Um, you just suggested me to take Clapingo Kids. That time we talked.
Okay, right. Uh, right. Okay. This was how long ago? A month or so ago?
More than a month, I think.
Yeah, that's why I'm having trouble recognizing you. I mean, especially if your hairstyle is different, if people change their hair or like they change a style that is like a part of their personality, then I face a lot of trouble trying to recognize them. In any case, so this was yeah, I told you to join Clapingo Kids, but you continued with the
Yeah.
main Clapingo program. Yeah, I did talk to the backend team and they mentioned that you can continue if you want to.
Okay. I just took. I just joined in Clapingo Kids in 1-2 months.
Yeah, you told me, I did you tell me that I have already paid for Clapping Go main membership when I asked you to
Yeah.
join? Okay, at that time your voice also was different for some reason. So at that you were not wearing headphones, so the sound
No,
was
I
also
did. I was not. No, I was not.
yeah. Yeah, so even your voice is different. But I remember when you were talking to me at that time, you appeared very mature for your age. So I was like really taken aback. I don't really take too many sessions with the student learners below 15 years of age. So I feel a
Yeah.
little nervous. I do not know what to talk about because the session topics of the typical session topics, they are related to very grown up situations. And if you haven't experienced those situations, it's kind of hard to come up with content. So I start second guessing myself. Anyway, it's nice to talk to you again because your name did feel familiar, Trisha.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So how has your experience been so far?
It's been wonderful. My English is confident. I am confident. And it's good.
Mhm. That's awesome. So have you faced any trouble making conversation or are you always like you always have a topic at the back of your mind?
I just have a general conversation. Sometimes I take the clapping session. Clapping the topic. Sometimes I
Hmm.
ask different questions.
Okay. So you do take the initiative to ask the speakers questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing. You should be doing that. Apparently,
Yeah.
the last speaker who talked to you, that person was blown away. Like they wrote a lot of positive remarks that you are like for a 13-year-old, your knowledge and command over English language is pretty awesome. That's what I
Yeah.
read. Mm. Okay. So what do you typically discuss? Do you discuss the language and how to use it, or do you actually discuss other topics also?
I just discuss some fun topics and which are
Hmm.
useful and interesting also.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So today's session topic is related to technology. We can
Okay.
we can talk about that, but usually my personal preference when I try and get to know a new person, I usually ask them what do they like to read and what do they like to watch. Like that's my favorite topic because it helps me understand their preferences, as in what
Okay.
is their interest area. So you can choose either one of these two topics and we can start from there.
I don't really know a lot about technology and I don't like robots because the topic is robotics and something. So
Yeah.
I don't like robots, so I don't think that's a good topic.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So we can have a general discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can ask you, I'll ask you random questions just to get to know you better. That
Okay.
would be okay. Right. So since you already feel really comfortable with English, like this is a good thing you joined Clappingo at a good time because you can practice what you know theoretically, right? So I mean, when I was your age, I used to read a lot of storybooks. That was like my main source of fuel to get comfortable with the language. How did you get comfortable with English? Because we need to be comfortable understanding English before we get comfortable talking in it, right?
Yeah. I started watching English movies when I was very young at that time. Like
Okay.
I was like 8 years old or 9 years old.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
just started listening to English songs.
Hmm.
First, I started from the basic, and I used to learn the lessons.
Hmm.
And those lessons weren't boring. They were
Hmm.
interesting, and we learned something.
Hmm.
I used to
This
learn
is
those
your
lessons
school
from
you're
basic.
talking about?
Then I'm sorry.
The lessons you were learning, these were the lessons
Yeah.
at your school?
No, not that, but YouTube, from YouTube.
Okay,
I used to
okay,
watch YouTube
right.
videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
So from basic I started, then slowly, that's how my English got improved.
okay, right. Actually, when I was your age, I didn't have access to YouTube, and
Okay.
my parents were very strict, so they did not give me access to cable also until I went to college. That's when I was able to actually start watching English programs. So my main source was books, and I like to laugh about it because English, the words are very different from how they are pronounced, the way they are spelled. So my
Yeah.
even though I understood English really well, whenever I would speak it out aloud, my pronunciation used to be really bad.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I also have books. I also like have 40 books.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And are they by one particular author? What kind of books are there? I mean, if they are storybooks or they are non-fiction, what kind of books are they?
I have all kind of genres. I have motivational, mysteries, storybooks, and fiction. I mean all. And my favorite author, I mean I like her writing, so it's Sudha
Hmm.
Murthy. I
Sudha
really like
Murthy.
her. Yeah, I like her
Okay.
way of writing.
Okay. Can you
Like
tell
she
me?
talks through the book to us.
Okay. Can you tell me any book by her? I'll look her up.
Okay, Sudha Murthy is I mean, I think she's an CEO of InfoAce Foundation.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So does she write children's stories or does she like write non-fiction for grown-ups? Like,
Yes, she likes. She writes storybooks.
okay. Oh, Sudha Murthy is probably Narayan Murthy's wife, the CEO of Infosys. I'll look her up.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's interesting. I had no idea she writes
And the
children's books.
favorite,
Hmm.
yeah, and her favorite book of mine is Grandparents' Bag of Stories. I really like that book.
Okay. So those are short stories? Are they short stories? Grandparents? You mentioned the book, I missed the name.
Not no, okay, and they're not short stories. I mean, it's a long book.
Okay. All right. I'll look this up. All right. That's interesting. I mean, there are lots of upcoming children's authors. Children's books are like children's books and books for tweens and young adults. It's an upcoming genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in school, I used to read Enid Blyton when I was in primary school. And then when I moved to middle school, I would read Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but those were like the only select few books available. Like everybody literally just
No,
read those.
I have
Mm.
a book of Nancy too.
You do? All
I have,
right. So she's
yeah,
still
I
popular.
actually have.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a mystery book of Nancy Drew. It's The
Yeah.
Hidden Staircase.
Oh, yeah. Those are good ones. I mean, in the beginning, it takes some time for you to develop interest, but halfway in the book, you want to know what happened in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't stop that mystery book, Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
I read it in 6 hours. I mean, I'm just so attached to reading. I just don't realize the time.
Yeah. Mystery
And
books
it
are,
was also very interesting.
yes,
And we just want to
you're
know
right.
what will happen next in that book.
You are right. Yeah. And plus, I think they kind of push you visually. You have to imagine different scenarios that you possibly haven't seen in actual life. So it
Yeah,
pushes the boundary of your imagination also, and it gets you invested in the book. So it helps you build
yeah,
the habit of reading also.
yeah. That's how my habit. It's my habit now to read,
Yeah, that's
and it's my
awesome.
hobby also. My first hobby is reading books.
Yeah.
Then I like cycling, swimming, cooking, and all activities.
Wow, you like to do a lot of things. So how do you spare time for these things? Like I know for a fact that cycling and swimming is exhausting. If you are exhausted physically, you can't really exert yourself mentally as much. So how do you balance it out? Do you have specific days for each activity?
Not really. I just cycle every evening.
Hmm.
I love cycling, so it's
Hmm.
not really exhausting for me.
Hmm.
So I just cycle in the evening. I haven't swim before, but
Okay.
I would love to do everything. Do that. I also love to drawing. Do drawing.
Oh yeah, drawing is extremely therapeutic. If you can, I don't know. I mean, as if you there will be a time when you will be too busy to draw. But as an adult, when you go back to it, it will be a massive stress reliever. I'm also experimenting with drawing now, but I'm doing it through graphic design. I used to love
Yeah.
drawing back in middle school, but I think after ninth standard, I stopped engaging in that activity because there was not enough time and I lost my interest also.
I also don't have time for drawing and all these activities because whole day is my busy day. Every day is a busy day for me.
Yeah, especially during after the schools reopened post
Yeah, yeah.
pandemic, they must have started
I
pushing
have
it.
holidays now. I have
Yeah.
holidays now, so not busier. But when I come back to school, I feel exhausted. Then I sleep. Then I do homework and learn something new. Then I work on my channel.
Okay, so you also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. So
Right.
you can say I'm busier thinking new ideas for my channel.
That's really interesting. Yeah, so I did read somewhere in the rules and regulations that YouTube allows you to open a channel only if you're 13 years old. So were you waiting to turn 13 to start a YouTube
No,
channel?
I haven't heard this notification. I just started when I was like 11 years old, like 2020.
Okay, so I read somewhere that you need to be at least 13 years old to have an independent YouTube channel. Because I was following the vlog of this very popular American YouTubers. If they have like a family thing going on. The father owns his own YouTube channel, the mother owns her own, and they have four kids, and all of them have their own independent YouTube channels. So the youngest one, the day she turned 13, she started her own YouTube channel, and she said, "Now that I have finally turned 13, I can have my own YouTube channel." So it's a good thing. I think your age wasn't noticed by the people who are working for YouTube because they could have banned your account. So whose email ID did you use to create that channel?
I haven't heard about that information. I just
Okay,
started.
okay, right. But now you're 13, right?
Yeah, I have
You're in
just
the safe
turned
zone.
13 on 31st May.
Okay, so you're in the safe zone now, but you can look it up on Google.
Okay.
Maybe this rule is outdated now, but I know for a fact that a couple of years ago it was a proper rule.